Is anyone else struggling with what to wear these days? I feel like styles change faster than dating trends, and I certainly don't want to be buying new clothes all the time just to keep up. So enter Armoire. Armoire allows you to rent high-quality designer clothing for every occasion. And when I signed up, I took a style quiz, and based on my preferences, they offer suggestions that would best match my lifestyle. The more I rent, the more on point the suggestions get. I recently rented this gorgeous Tanya Taylor silk dress for date night and got so many compliments. I wouldn't normally have chosen this style, but with Armoire, you can take chances because if you don't like it, you just swap it out. Right now, our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style/dateable. That is armoire.style, spelled ARMOIRE.style/DATEABLE to get up to 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try Armoire today. And if you forget the link, just head to our Instagram and find it under special offers. How much do you love your dog? A lot, right? So you definitely want the best for their health, and there's no doubt about that. But did you know that the cause of many dogs' health issues is their food? That is why actress Katherine Heigl, who's helped save over 16,000 dogs through her foundation, created something she could actually feel good about feeding her dogs. It's called Superfood Complete. It's made with over 30 of the healthiest ingredients on the planet, including several superfoods vital to your dog's health. I actually love giving Mojo this as a topper. He's extra enthusiastic about mealtime these days. And I feel good that there are no fillers and it's air dried, so it retains more nutrients. Dogs across America are trying this food and experiencing amazing health benefits. And so can your fur baby. Go to badlandsranch.com/dateable and order right now to get up to 50% off your regular price order with a 90-day money-back guarantee. If you want your dog to experience all these incredible things, go to badlandsranch.com/DATEABLE today. Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Kraftchick.
We're active daters turned dating sociologists.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to the DATEABLE podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to Brunch Talk, where we dissect your dating questions to the best of our ability.
Which is usually good, but it's a good caveat.
And we never run out of dating questions because thanks to you all, we crowdsource these questions. Thanks for sending them in. We have a special one today. And the question is, how do you handle dating someone who has anger issues?
And for more info, I've been dating my partner for close to 2 years, and I'm concerned about his yelling. He typically has loud outbursts for road rage and often screams at our dogs for silly stuff. He's never screamed at me directly, but should I be concerned? Outside of this, I find my partner otherwise reasonable. Help.
Help. Help indeed. Caveat is we are not pros experts in this, but what we can speak to is if this is something that's making you feel uncomfortable, it is worth a conversation.
Absolutely.
You know yourself best. And some people may be okay with this. Some people may not. It sounds like you are not okay with this. So it's worth that conversation. I know we say this all the time, like talk to the partner, talk to the person you're dating. But this one in particular is like, we don't know how you're feeling, but it sure sounds like this is bothering you.
Yeah, I agree with you in the sense of if this is bothering you, if this is something to be concerned with, especially if you say this person is otherwise very reasonable, then by all means have a conversation and just say like, could even just get specific, like when you're yelling at the dog or have road rage. I just want to make sure like this isn't something that comes into our relationship. Like, has this been something you've ever faced before? Like make it more of an open dialogue and hear their perspective and their background of anger too.
And maybe explore why this may bother you, why this is triggering for you. I've certainly been there because I grew up with a father who had major anger issues, and he would yell at random times that were these outbursts that were really scary for me.
Yeah.
And that triggered my sensitivity to anybody raising their voice. And so I've always dated people who do not raise their voice at all, because it does put me in that fight or flight mode. So it is also worth just digging into, what is this bringing up for you?
I absolutely agree. I think for me, yelling is very triggering. So it comes down to your background, and sharing that with your partner is helpful. Like, first of all, they'll understand you better, but also maybe it can be a reminder that this little action that they might not think is a big deal of yelling at the dog has more serious alarms going off for you.
Right. Let your partner into your world. Help them understand what's coming up for you. I also know friends who love yelling. They grew up in a really loud household, and this is how they communicate. And they raise their voice at everything, and they don't think it's anger. It's just more passion.
Right.
So everyone's a little different. And when you're dating someone, you don't know their upbringing. You don't know what kind of household they're used to. These are great conversations to be having without blaming your partner for anything.
Right. It sounds like right now that this is borderline going on red flag when they're yelling at other people, not you. Road rage and a dog. The dog's a little suspect to me, but anyways, we'll let that go for now. We're not there. We don't fully know. But the road rage, especially maybe dog, is borderline. I think this is borderline red flag and something to be conscious of. So it's good that you've taken notice and you want to dig in more. Certainly don't want to undermine anger issues, because I think this actually can lead to more. Obviously, we never want to go down a path that it goes to more domestic violence than, yelling in a car. That's something to be very conscious of. And, I've had friends before that they saw these little signs at the beginning and did brush them off. And then they did become very problematic later on. And I'm not saying that to scare this listener, because we do not know. We are not in your relationship, so we do not want to diagnose anything, but it's definitely something to raise concerns about. Absolutely.
And how your partner responds is going to be key.
Yeah.
I mean, they could just say, oh, I didn't realize I did that. I will be more conscious of it from now on. That's a great response. If they're like defensive, like, I don't think that's yelling. I don't think I'm raising my voice. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Then that's also worth a pause and kind of think about, like, wow, it's not even about the yelling at this point. It's the fact that your partner's not respecting something that you brought up.
Or if they yell at you after you bring it up.
Ugh.
The way you say it is important, because you don't want to set them up to be defensive. Like, if you can say it the most objectively and logically of just like, here's the facts of what's happening, and then they get defensive, you'll at least know that, like, okay, what I said was not blaming or any character traits on them. So I would really say that, just put out the facts. Like, you're yelling in the car, you're yelling at the dog. Is this something I should be concerned about?
Or this is something I'm concerned about.
Yeah,
and
that's true. That's true. It's not even a question. Yeah. It is something
I am concerned about this, so we need to have a conversation about it.
Yeah, and what's your take on it?
Have you ever dated someone who had some signs of anger issues?
Yes. But never directed to me either. So that's where this is kind of, on edge. Like, there was a time we'd be out at a bar with an ex of mine, and he would almost want to start a fight with people. And I'm just like, why? This person, maybe they did something a little annoying, or gave a look, but it's not worth getting into a fight about. And I would say that certainly wasn't an attractive trait to me. It was definitely is this a red flag? Have you?
No, I've just always steered clear of anybody who had even just a tiny sign of that, because it scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I don't want to be around that.
Yeah.
But I think I've swung the pendulum all the way on the other extreme, where I think I've dated people who are just so quiet and
passive,
and don't speak up.
I agree. I'm more on that side too. And I think it's because it is very triggering to me. If this person had ever raised his voice at me, I would have been done. It would have been a complete deal breaker. And it's really hard, what these little signs are too, because people are human. They're going to get triggered at things like road rage. It's annoying. Of course, we don't know the extremes. We're not in the car, and having a little road rage versus yelling your head off are two very different things. But what's the line of it becoming like a character trait of theirs and going into your relationship? That's what you definitely need to figure out.
Yes, that's a good distinction.
I had a friend that, looking back, there was a time where like her partner couldn't find them. Like there was a miscommunication and he was supposed to meet up and he got angry. And my friend was like, well, I kind of messed up. Like, you can forgive a lot of things, right?
Yes.
And then she ended up having to get a restraining order against him.
Shit.
So it's like, some of these little signs do come back. And again, I don't want to say this to scare this listener because every situation is different. But yeah.
Shit. Oh my God. If you yell at my dog, we're done. Like a stranger yelling at my dog and I'm like, you're dead. You're dead to me. Why would you yell at something so helpless? That is the same thing as yelling at a child. Yes, you can be like, no, bad boy, or like, don't do that. But there's also the extreme of like, why the fuck are you doing this? What is wrong with you? I've definitely seen people do that with their dogs. And I'm like, there's something wrong with you.
I agree. Like, I remember like a friend of mine was like, it was like about her stepdad, like kicked a dog. And I was just like, holy fuck. And like, they were not on speaking terms anymore. So yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah. So animal cruelty is a no-go. So.
Oh, no. That should become an ex-stepdad at that point.
I think it was. So anyways, we're going to get into this. We'll leave you hanging on this, but we're going to talk about this a little further. But before we do, let's take a quick message to hear from our sponsors. Spring is in the air, and you know what adds an extra spring to my step? Our partners at Via Hemp. Need to chill out after a long day? There's a Via gummy for that. Dealing with anxiety or stress? There's a gummy for that too. Want to set the mood in the bedroom? There's a gummy for that called High Love. Via also carries a wide array of other gummies with and without THC, ranging from 0 to 100 milligrams. I've been struggling to stay focused lately, so I was excited to try out their Flow State gummies. These felt like a good bet to me too, because they were non-psychoactive and THC-free. But they definitely delivered, boosting my daily energy and focus. So whether you're a 2 milligram or a 50 milligram user, you can shop through their website for any strength and effects. So head to Via Hemp and use the code DATEABLE to receive 15% off and one free sample of their award-winning gummies. 21 plus. That's VIIA hemp.com and use the code DATEABLE at checkout. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Take your passion and pleasure to a whole new level with High Love from Via Hemp.
Summer is basically here, and your wardrobe needs an upgrade, right? Instead of a flimsy fast fashion haul, which I used to be guilty of, now spend your money wisely on high-quality essentials that will last beyond the season. Quince is my spot for quiet luxury without paying luxury prices. They offer a range of must-have items like 100% European linen under $50, 14-karat gold jewelry from $30, and my most favorite recent purchase was a pair of comfy, high-quality biker shorts that cost about half of what I would normally pay. I know you're wondering how they do it. Quince partners directly with top factories to cut out the cost of the middleman and pass the savings on to you. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium eco-friendly fabrics and finishes. So I can feel good about getting high-quality items that last longer. Upgrade your closet this summer with Quince. Right now, go to quince.com/dateable to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's QUINCE.com/DATEABLE for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dateable.
What would your take be, like, outside of having a conversation about it? Is this something that would raise red flags for you with the road rage?
I don't think the road rage would trigger me because I have road rage. So I would find that relatable and maybe funny. I would also want to observe how this person bounces back.
Yeah.
I've definitely been in cars with people who have road rage and then they end up laughing about it. And you're like, oh, okay, that was just a little funny anger there. Or some people just like their day is ruined.
Yeah.
You know, like, I can't believe that person cut me off and now I'm going to have the worst day ever. So how your partner bounces back is also quite essential in this whole period. But I definitely also have had friends who've been to anger management classes due to a request from their partner.
Mm-hmm.
And they went and they said it was helpful. So sometimes maybe the person doesn't even know that they're exhibiting anger issues and maybe they could seek some help.
What I've learned too is just like what everyone's threshold of what anger means is very different.
I know.
Like I remember, what was it? Like something happened and I forget what if it was like on TV or something, but like I was like, why is this person yelling? And like the person I was with, I can't even remember who it was just like, oh, they're not yelling. They're just talking, like it's not a big deal. And I'm like, to me, that's yelling, So I think there's always like a disconnect here too. And then I remember talking to like another friend about like the situation I mentioned earlier about the restraining order. And she made some like comment about how like, like a lot of men have like anger issues. Like
no.
And I was like, for me, that's like a definite deal breaker. So I think it just comes down to what you're tolerant of. And then, like ultimately, how much does it affect you?
Yes. How does it make you feel? Who cares how other people have dealt with it? If you are absolutely uncomfortable with it, that's your truth. That is triggering. That is something you need to address. Who cares if someone's like, oh, it's not a big deal, or that's not yelling, or that's not anger. Like, they're not dating this person, right?
Right.
Still listen to yourself.
Right. So maybe it's a lot like the question, is it anger an issue? If it's an issue for you, then you need to bring it up.
Yes. Absolutely.
And then, of course, if it ever gets directed to you, that's a whole other thing where professional help is the way to go here. We're not even going to chime in on that topic. That's another topic for a whole nother day. Luckily for this listener, they're not there yet, so we're going to keep it there. But if it ever turns to that, that might also be a very different discussion than where it is today.
But it's good. It's good that you are asking the question. It's good that you are in touch with your feelings right now and how this is affecting you. And that's step number one.
Yeah, and 2 years into a relationship, this person is showing who they are at this point. So
wow.
It could have been a thing too that the first 6 months, you didn't see it because everyone's under kind of the best behavior at the beginning.
Or like you've got your rose-colored glasses on.
Yeah,
thinking,
totally.
This person's super passionate.
Right. It's a combo of both. It's like holding it back a little and then seeing the good in everything.
Yeah. No, I love how passionate he is. I love that he can raise his voice and express his passions.
Or it's like you could still love someone's passions, but how can they do that in a different way that doesn't involve screwing their head off?
Yes.
So you could be passionate without yelling and making people feel terrible.
I mean, have you dated someone who gets really angry about sports when they're watching sports?
No one I date ever likes. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's actually not true at all. One of my exes was like obsessed with sports from the UK. But anyways, the sports thing is interesting because I've definitely seen people, I wouldn't say I've experienced it firsthand, but I've definitely seen like guy friends or like people that, get heated. But not to the level that it's like scary.
Yeah.
It's like a little more amped up than how they normally are, but not like yelling or screaming or anything like that. Have you?
I had a crush on this guy that I kind of thought, do I want to pursue this? This is right after the last breakup and, kind of in between like, could I pursue this guy?
Okay.
And so I looked at his Instagram because that's how you sample a life with someone. You're like, oh, could I have been there with him for
the best life? The best life.
Yeah, right. These are the highlights.
If that's not good, then it's a definite no.
And it turns out he's obsessed with football, and he had all these clips of him just screaming like
such a turnoff to me.
Oh my God, yeah. And then him with his buddies like, I can't believe they lost. Like so many clips of him like that. And I can't do that. I can't be in the room with that. And even though he is the kindest person I've met, the way we've interacted, he's never shown that side.
Yeah.
That passion for sports is awesome. Good for him. I love it for him. Just not for me. Even that I can't do.
So I think that's a really good example though, because I don't know if I would necessarily say like someone that's yelling at the, TV, because I remember like friends in college being like this. I wouldn't say it equates to them having anger issues.
Right. Yeah.
But it still doesn't mean it's a turn on.
Right.
There's a difference of it being a problem versus something that you're excited about.
Yes. I did not want to partake.
Yeah. And maybe like back to this too, like maybe your line is screaming at the dogs is too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
But if you have road rage, like it is what it is. I'm just going to tune you out when you have that road rage.
Right. Exactly.
So I think there's always something that triggers people. Like there's a difference of, violent anger versus being a little triggered sometimes.
Yes.
So you have to find out where on the spectrum this person falls.
All right, time to do some detective work. Thanks for sending in this question. It's a great question.
Yep.
And for all of you with your own questions, we know you have them. You can email us your questions, hello@dateablepodcast.com. You can DM us on Instagram @dateablepodcast. Or best yet, like this person did, leave us a rating and review. Either in Apple Podcasts, you can leave us 5 stars there in the body of a review, ask your question. Or in Spotify, you can also interact with us there and ask a question there as well.
Same with YouTube if you're on YouTube.
Oh, yes.
But if you are on another platform that doesn't allow you to leave like the full review, then you can always email us and say, I left you a review. Here's my question. Honor code. We will believe you.
But, please give us 5 stars. Not to sound desperate, but if you're going to leave a review, 5 stars, please.
Yes, it really makes a difference. Honestly, it keeps us going with this podcast. It gives us great guests. Ultimately, it serves you to give us 5 stars.
Yes. But we will see you all next week.
See you next week.
The Dateable Podcast is part of the Frolic Media Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram @Dateable Podcast and visit dateablepodcast.com for access to all the episodes and our premium programs. Also, make sure to subscribe today if you haven't already on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform so you are the first to get all the latest episodes. And most importantly, stay dateable.